2025 action plan to make $250,000 a year wholesaling real estate. So in 2025, if you're ready to make over $250,000 a year wholesaling real estate, you need to focus on just 5 aspects of wholesaling. This is all going to be on the marketing end, because the cash buyer end, you can use X leads, the free methods for the dispo, right? The closing methods, the sales part, right? That's all in wholesaling.com. But the main aspect you're watching this is, how can I make $250,000 a year, almost $20,000 plus a month with a marketing system? And most importantly, how do I get these type of deals? Well, there are specifically 5 styles, 5 avatars, 5 methods, ways, systems, I don't care what you call it, on how you can get success wholesaling that will actually land you at least $250,000. Style number 1 is going to be basically a free outbound marketing system, or what we call free outbound. This is when we go out here and start reaching out to sellers outbound, right? The leads aren't coming to us. Style number 2 is going to be free inbound styles. Style number 3, paid internet leads. Now, kind of like free inbound leads, internet leads and free inbound, they're both going to be inbound towards us. So maybe it's like a paid inbound, but I like to separate a little more. Then style number 4, paid inbound and outbound. And then the last style, there's going to be something like a JV approach. Now, let's kind of break down how these systems are going to land you $250,000 in wholesaling. Well, first and foremost, a lot of these branch out. So for example, for the free outbound, this can be anything, right? We can do cold calling, and that can branch out to like government lists, right? Code violations, probates, fire damage properties. We could start texting sellers, right? SMS for free. This is really going to be using something like Google Voice for this, and doing a ton of government lists with there, which again are lists you get from the government. Go to wholesaling.com for it. Heck, we can go out here and knock on doors, right? You can do door knocking. Now, I prefer you only do that with pre-foreclosure leads. This is a great free outbound strategy that really branches out. Now, when we look at free inbound strategies, right? Probably the first thing that comes to mind are sticky notes, or what we call reverse drawing for dollars. But that's one of my favorite ways. It's right, you're going in your car, you're looking for an ugly house, and then you see the ugly house, you put a sticky note on the door, basically saying, hey, this is Zach. I had a quick question about your property. Please give me a call back. Now, on top of this too, I would put drawing for dollars in there because it is inbound. Now, technically you could outbound. It's not free, it's not paid. It's kind of in a weird area. But a drawing for dollars list, if you get out the sticky notes, it is an inbound strategy. Now, another branch is something what I call digital bandit signs. I'll tell anybody watching this, post on Craigslist, post on Facebook. We actually have our free digital bandit sign academy inside of wholesaling.com, where we teach you exactly how to post on Facebook and Craigslist and get wholesaling deals right then and there. But those are going to be the main free inbound ones. So if you have no money, I think these 2 are great because they're both free. So if you're looking for like a free strategies and you got no money, I'd be focusing on these 2 free styles. Now, these next 2 styles, 3 and 4, are going to be paid. Nothing wrong with paying money, but just understanding that if you have no money, you cannot do any of these type of styles. So blue paid, red pinkish for free. Now, for paid internet leads, right, we can do PPC, which really is not the best. PPL, I'm not a big fan of that either. Just the return on ad spend's not there. I've seen a lot of people do Facebook ads. You can do SEO, which is probably out of all the internet leads, it's probably the best one I found. But still, you're still spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to get one contract when obviously the free ones cost no money. I personally believe that there is a better way to get wholesaling deals, because you got to remember, spending on average, what is it, $8,000 for a PPL lead, CPL, which is cost per lead. It's just insane to me, because if you're making $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 and it's costing you $8,000, yeah, that's a 2x return on your ad spend. It's just not there, because paid internet leads on average are going to give you a 2 to 3x ROAS. And now what ROAS stands for, return on ad spend. What I've been finding on paid inbound and outbound, we've been roughly getting a 5 to 10x ROAS. And it even gets even higher. It gets all the way up to 20x if you're using your own dialing systems and you're doing it all yourself, right? Because direct mail is part of it, paid cold calling, paid texting, that's going to be in the 20x. 5 to 10 is going to be roughly direct mail, and some other systems I'm going to show you. But I'm just not finding the best return there. Now, with paid inbound and outbound, you're just going to be doing a scaled out version of cold calling. You're just going to do like 30,000 texts a month. Now you gotta remember, 30,000 texts are around $210 at X Leads. That's the reason why I love X Leads so much. Gotta remember, there's no paid skip tracing, any of that stuff on there. I also put postcards on here. Postcards are really where I think the biggest direct mail marketing should be, because that's about a 5 to 8x return on ad spend. And that is the best way when you're starting to scale up. Now, the cool part about a JV approach is it's technically part of the free part, right? I mean, it costs no money to start doing JV operations, but if you can have people just send you the deal, they send the deal to you, and then you send it to the buyer, and you have a disposition software like X Leads, you have an entire operation where you can go into my social media feeds, right? You can comment, go on my Discord, go to my free wholesaling course, right, and community, and just find people to send you deals, and you send it to the buyer, you get paid a quarter of the deal or half. There's a ton of money to be made there. Now you're gonna be asking yourself, what's the cost of these type of systems? Now, you also get to choose what costs you wanna do. If you're doing internet leads, right, like you're doing the SEO, Facebook ads, PPL, all these type of things, you're on average going to spend to make that 21 grand a month, which is $250,000 a year. On the low side, you're spending around $7,000. On the high, you're probably spending 10 to 11 grand. Now, on average, this is where I'm getting the stats from, 1 out of 25 PPL leads end up being a deal. Now, the average PPL cost currently as of this video is, from what I've seen, $375. Multiplied by 25, you're roughly about $9,400, and the cost of PPL is rising every single day. So I personally believe by 2026, this will probably rise by 25–30%, but that's still an unknown how the whole market's gonna go. And some people are actually really bad at this, and it's 1 out of 30 or 40, but we're not getting into there. If you were doing a paid outbound, inbound system, right? You got the dialer, you got the VAs, you're doing that type of system, you're roughly gonna pay between $2,000 and $4,000. This is why I prefer this type of system over an internet system. Now, you do get deals. It is a lot more easier, but you spend a lot less money to make more money. And the cool part is, if you just do that in a month, you can double your budget to $8,000 and do even more deals than a system like this. So you have infinite compounding with the extra cash you make. And if you're doing this kind of by yourself, right, you have X Leads, use Ninja Mode Dialer, and you're kind of going solo with government lists, trying for dollars, all these things, you should expect to spend at least $500 to $1,000, depending on how hard you're working. Now, there's a lot of if, ands, or buts here, right? Because you're probably only doing about 20 hours a week with an internet lead system. Now, if you're doing the PPC and the SEO by yourself, probably double that. If you're doing paid outbound, inbound, you're roughly looking at about 40 to 60 hours. And you're roughly probably 80 hours a week on a system like this. So you do have to understand the time cost of it, because there are people that are trying to wholesale part-time. They only have 10, 15 hours a week. You shouldn't probably expect to make 21 grand a month. Maybe if you just did like 20 hours a week for the solo or the freeways, yeah, you could probably make 10 grand a month or 5 grand a month, and then keep making money until you start to go full-time in this. But do understand, there is less time. The lower the return on ad spend is usually the easier it is for wholesaling. So less time, you get less of a return, but it is easier. So just understand that. Now with the free JVs, right, you can kind of push as many as you want, right? I mean, you can do 40 to 100 hours a week. Like, it's really up to you what you want to do, because each wholesaler is different, but it is a little more stressful, right? You got no money, you got to manually skip trace. It's not the easiest system in the world here. So you need to make the decision today, what type of system do you want to be using for wholesaling real estate if you truly want to get to $250,000 this year? It's really not a question of if I can do it, or is it even possible? It is possible. Like, you're going to do it if you follow the system like this, but you got to choose what type of avatar and wholesaling you want to be doing. Now, if you want to do the MLS, on-market creative, right, it's technically under the free because you're doing MLS, but you are going to have to pump enough numbers and make the scripts work. I'm not the biggest MLS fan, as you know, but ultimately you need to choose what it is. If I were you, I would focus on these 3 systems. These are the top systems right here if you are going to want to make $250,000, where the majority of the people on this YouTube channel have the success. You need to make a decision for yourself what is going to help you and your goals for wholesaling real estate. Guys, if you want to learn more, I have a free wholesaling real estate course called freewholesaling.com. And like always, if you got any value from this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.